It's funny is that moment still hasn't really set in. Like, I still have to pinch myself and still have to like actually go look at the gold medal to know that it's real and that it actually happened. It still doesn't feel like it actually happened. And
Yeah.
that's the thing is like to really be like at your best as a mother, it takes a village. It takes a village for all of us, whether you're an Olympic athlete or whether you're a doctor or whether any or whether even you're a single stay-at-home mom. Like even stay-at-home moms, like I lasted 3 weeks as a stay-at-home mom. I was like, I'm going back to bobsled this year.
Welcome back to the Pete's Doc Talk podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mona, pediatrician, mom of two, and someone who loves conversations that remind us what strength and perspective really look like in real life, and who better than a world-class Olympian. Have you ever watched someone achieve something incredible and thought, how do they do it all? How does someone compete at the highest level in the world, stand on an Olympic podium, and also show up as a parent, including a parent raising two children with disabilities? How does someone carry the weight of history, representation, advocacy, and motherhood and still push a bobsled down an Olympic track fast enough to win gold? Today's guest is someone many of you watched make history this winter at the Milan Winter Olympics. She is a gold medal Olympic champion in monobob, a six-time Olympic medalist, and the most decorated Black Winter Olympian in history, a title she actually earned even before these most recent games. She's also a mental health advocate, a mom of two children with disabilities, and a disability advocate, helping shift how the world understands inclusion and representation. And I have to say this part because I'm 40 and she's 41. Hello, fellow elder millennial kicking butt. She is Elana Meyers Taylor, and she's here on the show today. I am just so honored she joined me after she won. I honestly just took a shot. I emailed her, sent a DM, and here we are, making this happen when she's literally being driven to another event, which honestly feels very on brand for someone living this kind of life post-Olympic win. In this conversation, we talk about that gold medal moment, the people behind her success, motherhood while competing at the highest level, and how raising her two incredible boys has shaped the way she sees the world and how she is as an athlete. This is a conversation about perspective, advocacy, resilience, and the beautiful reality that sometimes the strongest people are the ones leading with the biggest hearts. I see you, Elana. Remember, if you love this episode, share it on social media, tag Peds Doc Talk, the Peds Doc Talk podcast, and Elana Meyers Taylor. Let's get into this incredible conversation. So, Alana, I'm so happy you're with me today. Do you know why I have this pillow in front of me right now? Like, you're probably wondering, like, does Dr. Mona just record with pillows? I bought your shirt.
Oh, yay! Oh, it looks so good. I actually
I
haven't seen it in
know.
red, so it's really
Yes.
cool to
Okay.
see
I'm
it
going to
in
move it
different
for any
colors.
of our people watching. So I had to buy some Elana Meyers Taylor merch. And so it says bobsled in ASL, which is super cool. So I'm going to link it because I got it and I was like, it has to come before we have our conversation. So thank you so much for joining me. You are joining me in between a lot of exciting things happening, media going around. So thank you for taking the time to come on the show today.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me.
So you competed in your fifth Olympic Games, and across your career, you've now earned six Olympic medals, one gold, three silver, two bronze. But this past February brought that moment that people around the world were celebrating with you. On February 16th, you won an Olympic gold in monobob by 400ths of a second. You are the most decorated Black Winter Olympian in history, which, by the way, you didn't even need these Olympics to claim that. You got that after Beijing in 2022, if I'm correct. And you're also a mom of two children with disabilities. And as a pediatrician, I know that this entire road is not linear. There's so much strength and determination in that journey, too. And I have to say, you're 41, I'm 40. So part of me was watching this race thinking, wow, how is your back feeling after pushing a bobsled down an Olympic track? But truly, if you watched that finish, for everyone listening, that joy was contagious. I remember seeing that moment and honestly feeling like I won something too. And that's just the power of the Olympics. It's been a few weeks since that race. How are you feeling now that a little time has passed since that incredible win of yours?
It's funny is that moment still hasn't really set in. Like, I still have to pinch myself and still have to like actually go look at the gold medal to know that it's real and that it actually happened. It still doesn't feel like it actually happened, but I think it was because of how much went into it, how improbable it seemed at the time, because we had a really difficult season. It just didn't seem like the pieces were lining up, and it just seemed like it was just an uphill battle the entire time. But so to actually have done it, it still doesn't feel real. But I'm still like enjoying life and loving it, and taking time in to not only thank the people that mean the most to me and that really help towards this, but also enjoy and celebrate and do all the things. So it's been a whirlwind, but it's been a lot of fun.
Is it heavy, the medal?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
1.4. Wait a second. Oh, 1.4 ounces. It's
I'm
6 grams
I'm
of
like,
gold.
yeah.
I was like,
Wow,
where is
wow.
this thing? You almost got me. I was like, where did I put the
Where
medal?
is it? Yeah.
It's right here.
Oh,
So that's it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's,
oh.
you know,
Do you know where it's gonna go? Do you know where it's gonna go in your house?
It'll probably just. I don't even know if we'll keep it at the house. It'll probably go in a
Yeah,
safe with my other medals at
safe,
some point. But
exactly.
right now,
Yeah.
we're gonna have it with us for a little bit longer. So I'm gonna carry it with me a little bit, and really enjoy
Oh,
it. And I have to keep it with me to remind myself that it's actually real. Like, this is gold. It's not silver or bronze. And all medals are great. Don't get me wrong, but this
yes.
one's something special. So
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, your career has been impressive despite the gold. Like obviously the gold is like that icing on the cake. I get it. I mean, it's the best in that event at the Olympics, but I love that you obviously were so decorated and so accomplished even before this gold. So, I mean, I appreciate that sentiment, but listen, it is pretty awesome. Like from the outside looking in, go ahead and celebrate, but I can totally relate to that surreal feeling. You're like, "Wait, am I in a dream still? Like what's
yeah,
what's going on?" When
yeah, it's
you
crazy.
realized when you realized you had won by, just 400ths of a second. I know I saw that moment, but what went through your mind in that exact moment?
It was just so much joy and so much disbelief and so much I like just feeling like I just couldn't believe it happened. Like, it was
Yeah,
incredible, and to have that moment and share it with not only my nanny, who's my teammate as well,
I
my
love that.
nanny teammate,
Yeah.
but also my kids. Like, it just felt like just a perfect moment, and like, there have been so many times earlier in my career where I was so close to a gold medal, and you wonder, why is it not happening? Why is it not happening? Like,
Yeah.
I lost out from a gold by a tenth of a second, and then 700ths of a second. So to now finally have the clock in my favor, like, it was just like, oh, this is incredible, and you just can't even put into words what that moment was like when you cross the finish
Oh,
line and actually see that it happened.
and you said beautifully about your nanny team. I mean, I'm a mother as well. Like I've mentioned, I'm also a business owner. I'm a pediatrician, and I'm also very vocal about the team that supports me and my family. So that was that moment that actually really made me most emotional. And I think a lot of moms felt the same way. Is that not only seeing a mother win, but also a mother who's celebrating with the team that makes her and helps her win. Like, I don't think people realize that we are incredible, but we can do even more with the team around us. So I felt that deeply because my nanny right now is not just the kid's nanny, she's my nanny. Like, she is my team. So even though the world sees the athlete crossing the finish line, there are so many people behind that moment. And I love in all of your interviews already, you've talked about that. Who are the people that made this gold possible with you? And what do you wish more people understood about the team behind success, whether it's an athlete or as a mom?
I mean, that's the thing, is my nanny this time, Macy, was actually my bobsled teammate. So she's done everything this season, from not only watch the kids, but also help me prepare equipment, also
Oh,
brainstorm different
amazing.
ideas to help me prepare for races, and even talk to them the sports psych thing. So she's done everything. She's gone above and beyond. But even before her, we had other nannies, whether it was Malia, my nanny previous year, or Talia, or Tiffany, or all these other nannies. Like, it's crazy how much of a village you really need behind you in order to accomplish anything great. And it's been the nannies, it's been my husband, it's been my family, it's been my friends. Like, even my friends will pitch in and watch the kids for a second to allow me to have a meal that's not standing over a sink, or
Yeah.
any of those kind of things. I mean, and that's the thing, is like, to really be like at your best as a mother, it takes a village. It takes a village for all of us, whether you're an Olympic athlete, or whether you're a doctor, or whether any or whether even you're a single stay-at-home mom. Like,
Yeah.
even stay-at-home moms, like, I lasted 3 weeks as a stay-at-home mom. I was like, I'm going back to bobsled. This is easier. Bobsledding is easier than being a stay-at-home mom
I
out of the house.
agree.
um like, it's so, motherhood is so hard, parenthood is so hard, and like, the the more of a village you have around you, and it is, I will definitely say it's a privilege to be able to have a nanny. But the more a village you have around you, the better it is for everybody. The more you're going to be able to accomplish, not only as a mother, but as a wife, as a bobsledder, as anybody. Like, it really does take a village to raise kids. And I think somewhere along the line, we've gotten away from that. Like, we thought like it was a single person or a two-person kind of thing, but it's not. Raising kids takes everybody.
Yeah. And I mean, I obviously the work ethic you have to put into your sport, what would be that personality of that village for you? Like I know we talk about the village, right? I also agree in the village and I've also had people in my village that probably didn't need to be in my village, meaning what is that person for you? Like how do they support you not only for the things that they do, but like how they emotionally support you? Like what type
I
of
think
person
you,
is that?
yeah, I think you bring up a really good point. Is the difference between this games and previous games is we've been really intentional about creating the right village. So it's one
Nice.
thing to say like you have a lot of people around you and a lot of people helping, but it's so important to have that mentality of people who really believe in what you're doing, really believe in your dreams just as much as you, and also are really invested in your children and really want what's best for your children as well, and realize that the kids are a part of my dream and they're a part of everything I do. So I'm not going to be able to be successful if I know my kids aren't taken care of. Like, I need my kids to be well taken care of. I need to know that they're fed and that they're happy in order to go out there on the ice and do what I do. So I need people in my corner that believe that. And that's been the biggest difference this games versus other games. We've been so intentional about not making sure we just have some random person helping, is that those people really believe in me as much as I do, or sometimes even more than I believe in myself.
And do you feel like I want to get into your family a little bit in a moment, but do you feel like it was also important obviously finding people who knew how to raise your kids because of their background, disabilities, the fact that they would need to communicate with them, like finding that right person was probably really hard as well.
Oh, without a doubt. And also finding people that are willing to learn, finding people that
Yes.
understand that, they may be new to the disability space. Because, as you know, like, it is extremely hard for parents of kids with disabilities to find any caretaker. Like, a lot of people aren't up for the challenges. My oldest, Nico, he's 60 pounds. So even being able to lift him up, he doesn't walk really well. So even being able to lift him up, move him around, change diapers and stuff, it's a lot. So finding people who can understand that, appreciate that, and know how to work with them is pretty difficult. But also finding people that are willing to the the learning opportunity. I'll put it like that. Is the learning opportunity to understand how you need to communicate them. And like, even every single nanny I've had has been so willing to be able to go above and beyond to try and learn American Sign Language and try and learn different ways to communicate and just try to figure it out, which I've been very blessed to be able to have that opportunity. And it's been really cool to see their growth also as people, and their growth also to understand like what disability is and how to interact with different individuals.
I love that advice, and that's how I feel as a pediatrician too, because I'm also always learning, right? When I'm seeing my patients in my office, I practice medicine, and part of practicing medicine is learning through my family. So whether it's a family, whose child has a disability, or if it's a child who is neurodiverse, like every child is so unique, even within that space. So it's like always about being open and humble and understanding about that. And I think like to your point, not only about the nannies, but family members and doctors, like, hey, this is a new patient. This is a new person in your life. How are we going to best support this child and their needs? And I already mentioned there's so many moments of your win that has resonated with myself and my community. The hugging of your nanny was one of them. And then the other obviously is how open you've been about your family. You know, you have two boys. You mentioned Nico's your older, Noah. And I saw in an interview you were chatting on how your toddler had no pants on when you won because, hello toddler life. Like I have a toddler as well. And I just love that relatability, Alana. Like you're a mom and you're a freaking gold medalist and Olympian. So, both of your children are deaf and your older son has Down syndrome, correct?
Yep.
And so raising kids is never easy. And I know there can be added layers when you're raising children with disabilities. And I think I know that, you know that, but sometimes people who aren't in that situation can't really understand. And I also love the moment after you won where you used ASL to communicate with your kids, and your husband doing the same. It just was a beautiful reflection of your family and the inclusiveness to the world that we're growing up in. And oh, like it was awesome. Like, it was really awesome to see that you had that moment, but you also had that moment being who you are with the children, with your children, with your family. And so, how has this Olympic win shaped your experience as a mom and a disability advocate? And has it been extra special because of the advocate and mother you are? Like F yeah, like we did this together.
Yeah, it's been really special because of that, because of being able to show the world like American Sign Language and how we communicate as a family and all these different things that have been able to talk about like what our lives is like as uh, people within the disability community. So it's been really, really cool, and it's been really awesome to have other parents reach out to me and tell me how much the win meant to them and how much it meant to
Yeah.
have that representation and to see it. And that's the biggest thing is like the crazy thing is as a parent I don't know any different. Like
Yeah.
Nico was my first, I only know raising disabled children, and so it's been our lives the entire time. So I don't have a comparison to know whether it's harder or more difficult or anything like that. But what I can say, like, we've been blessed to be a part of these different communities, the Down syndrome community, the deaf community, and all this kind of stuff. And they've been so welcoming and so open to us. And it's just been an incredible journey. Like, there's been plenty of challenges. There's been plenty of times where I'm talking to my other friends and they can't relate to what it's like to have their son in the ICU or the PICU
Yeah.
or these different types of things, or they can't relate to what it's like to have to administer daily medications or make all these appointments with the specialist, the immunologist, and all these different types of things. So they can't relate on that level. But at the end of the day, like, even that moment where I'm signing to my sons at the bottom, like, I was really just trying to calm them down, like, and to explain to them what's going on. It was a natural parenting moment, same as anybody else would have. Like, you're just trying to explain, hey, this is what's going on. Mommy won a race. I'm crying for a good reason. It's
Yeah.
okay. And then my husband was doing the same thing. Like, my son was freaking out that he couldn't get onto the podium. And so my husband's just trying to explain to him, it's like, it's okay. She's coming. You'll be all right. Like, just calm down. So it's been really cool. Like, the whole experience has just allowed me to share what it means to be a part of this community. And also, I hope that it starts to, like, because the biggest thing is when you're a parent going through it and you get these different diagnoses, is like, you don't know what's next. You don't know what's coming
Yeah.
for you. And even even though you see my story, you still don't really know what's coming for you, but hopefully it makes it a little less scary. I think that's the biggest thing is whenever parents get a diagnosis, the first thing is you worry and you fear. It's like, what is this going to mean for my kid, or what are they going to be able to do? And hopefully that's by seeing my stories, like, you'll figure out how to communicate with your deaf child. It's like, no, your kid with Down syndrome, you know, their abilities may vary, but you'll still be able to do some different things in your life. You'll still be able to live a life, and you can still go after your dreams. It just might look different.
I love that. And I think people get so stuck in that moment, and I don't blame anyone. Like, I've been in that room. My son was born with a stroke and seizures, and I remember at that moment I didn't know what that future would hold. I was that it's hard not to think about all the what ifs and also grieve what could have been, right? And I think that's a very healthy emotion, but to your point, part of living life and part of doing what you do and the mindset that I think I'm curious where I'm actually so curious where you got that mindset from of like, hey, here's the cards I've been dealt. I'm going to make the most of this. Like, is that something you were raised with, or is that something you learned by becoming an athlete of like, here's where I am. I can feel the feelings, but we got work to do now. Like, whether it's as a mom or whether it's as an Olympian, where do you think that came from for you?
It's definitely something I was raised with, but also
Yeah.
sport has magnified that tremendously, and that's why I encourage anybody to get into sport, and to get your kids into sport, and not, like, I never want to encourage people to get in the sport because you're going to be an Olympian. Yes, that's a
Right.
good goal, but the odds of actually doing that are very low. But there's so much other stuff that sport teaches me. And it's funny is like when we were in the NICU with my first son, like, that's the biggest thing is remember thinking is like, sport has prepared me so well for this moment. Like, I don't know what's going on. Same as sport. Like, there's so many things outside your control and you just have to deal with it because that's the job. You just have to deal with it. And so sitting in the NICU, I really felt like, you know, people are throwing medical terms at me, jargon, on all this kind of stuff. So I didn't feel prepared on that side. I was like, I need a medical degree to understand any of this. But at the same time, I felt prepared because I was used to dealing with chaotic situations, and I was used to the feeling of feeling out of control and not having control of a situation that you desperately wanted to control. Like, winning a gold medal, you or going into the Olympics, you want to be able to control every aspect of it. But at some point, you have to tell yourself, is like, look, I can't control the weather. I can't control when I go off in the start order. I can't control what my competitors do. Like, there's so much outside of winning a gold medal you can't control. And it's the same with parenting, especially with medical parenting. Is there's so much that at the end of the day you can't control, no matter how much you want to. And so having that experience in sport, really feel like gave me a leg up. It's like when we're dealing with these situations, with my sons in particular, it's like, hey, we're just going to make the best of this situation, and we're going to do whatever we can to get where we want to go.
I love that. And I love that you're obviously balancing competing at the highest level while raising your children and giving that perspective of, how being a athlete has translated into being a mom. How has motherhood translated into the athlete you are today?
Oh, perspective. Perspective.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
my worst day on the ice is still pales in comparison to my worst day as a parent. Like, if I have a bad race, I still get to come home and hug my kids. I still get to snuggles and everything like that. Like, so at the end of the day, it's a race. And at the
yeah.
end of the day, I used to beat myself up. It's like, oh, if I lost a race, it's the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody. If I won a race, it's the best thing that could ever happen to anybody. But now, that's not true. It's like, even, winning a gold medal, what do? I come back and make sure the kids are sleeping because it was late at night or whatever, make sure they're in their beds, make sure they've got their juice and everything like that, and changing their diapers and doing all that kind of stuff. So, like, you just know that even though, like, even this Olympics, like, I wanted a gold medal, and but in previous times of my career I felt like I needed it to feel complete. But now,
Mhm.
as an athlete, like, I didn't need another medal to feel complete. Like, I have so much more identity in who I am as a mother, a sister, a wife, and all these different types of things versus who I just am as an athlete. So that perspective has changed everything for me.
And like competing in so many Olympic games is a level of longevity that very few athletes reach, right? To be in multiple Olympic games, let alone one. How has your mindset as an athlete changed from your first Olympics to now? And do you feel, because I'm 40, so I'm asking because you're my age, do you feel that age has been a part of this? Like you've had to train differently, whether physically or mentally, your body, your mind, when you approached your events?
Everything has changed since my first Olympics to this Olympics. The biggest difference is, like, I am pretty stubborn, and I really had to learn that it is different. Like, you just can't take for granted anymore that you're not some 20-year-old kid. Like, 20-year-old kid, something happens, you go take a nap, and you wake up and you're fine. Like, 41 years old, like, you just have to take the perspective of the long game, and that's exactly what we did this season. Like, I had a horrendous season. On the same track, we had a race earlier that year. I finished 19th, so I wasn't even in the medal picture for most people. So the biggest thing is, like, you have to take the long game, and you're not going to go out there and win every single race as a 41-year-old. You're not going to go out there and win every single heat, and every day you're not going to wake up feeling like $1 million. But what we did is we scripted it out. My husband and I, we scripted it out to make sure we were ready to go for the Olympics. um, and it's hard, though. It's a hard pill to swallow as an athlete, to know that you're not going to be prepared every single race. And whether it's not just me physically, but also taking care of the kids, and they travel with me all throughout the season, or I'm going to have rough nights with them, or I'm not going to be able to get everything that I need to eat during that time period, because sometimes you're making meals for toddlers and doing all this different stuff. So sometimes things are just going to be a little chaotic, and you just have to be okay with that, knowing that the long game is those Olympic games, versus, when you're 25, you trying to win every race, every single second, every single day. You want to win at cards or those types of things. So I really had to not only change how I train physically, but also that mental aspect, and to reassure myself that it's okay. We're going for the long game. We're playing the long game here. We're working towards a greater goal, and it's not going to result in, winning every single race.
Mm. And Elana Meyers Taylor, thank you so much for being here. We have a few more questions and then I'm going to let you go on your way. And for anyone tuning in and not watching us, she is in a car driving around town and on this podcast because she's just so awesome. And so thank you
I'm not
again.
driving. I'm not driving.
Yeah, no, yes, she's a
I'm a
passenger. Sorry,
passenger.
she's a
Yes.
passenger. Yes, let's be clear. I want to. Yeah, she's a passenger. She's not driving. But so you are the most decorated Black Winter Olympian. Like, amazing. It carries so much meaning. Again, beyond the medals, for a lot of people. including myself, the earliest exposure to bobsled and black athletes in winter sports actually came from one of my favorite movies, which is called Cool Runnings, which is still a
Yes.
very stellar movie. But what you've done is obviously real and historic. I mean, this is incredible for me. And did you experience barriers that you feel existed due to your skin color in this sport? And what does that representation mean to you personally now?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, when I
Yeah.
started this sport in 2007, it was crazy because I would meet people who were on the team who had actually never met a black person before.
Wow.
Early
Not even in
days,
the sport, just like in
not even in
general.
the sport, just had never met a black person before. And so even early days, people want to come up to you, feel your hair, and do all this kind of
Mm,
stuff. Like they treat you like, you know, they've never met somebody. And so I've been pretty vocal about, there's been people within the sport who don't want to see people of color achieve. And there's been some very racist tropes. So whether it's black people or whether it's Asians, a lot of Asian stereotypes get thrown around there. But I
yeah.
think the biggest thing is I've tried to show throughout my entire career is like, it shouldn't matter where you come from or what you look like. Like there's a place for you in winter sport. And Cool Runnings is a great movie. I love it, and I really appreciated that for allowing people of color to like get interest in the sport and things like that. But I think we, as a sport, like we've come a long way
Yeah.
to show that you can come from anywhere, you could look like anything, any racial background, whatnot, and succeed. But we need to continue to do things to make winter sport accessible to everyone, not just people who live in, Park City, Utah, and their parents own
Yes.
you know, a winery or something like that. So we need to make sure winter sport stays accessible. And I think we're getting there, but we're still not there yet.
Well, there's exactly what you said. There's a lot of misconception that, winter sports can be more pricey as it is. Like, going skiing, it can be a very expensive process, giving you an example. But I saw some videos of like you training in Texas and you obviously didn't have snow there. You would just push, like, you would push on ground, right? For your training.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I mean,
bobsled and skeleton are some of the more accessible sports just because you usually get into it after college or
yeah.
after high school or something like that. And yeah, you can train anywhere in the world because during the summers any we don't have any like tracks in the southern hemisphere. So we just do dry land training. We just do running and lifting. And actually, this summer we'll have tryouts throughout the country. I think there's one in Beaumont, Texas, not too far from where I am. We'll have tryouts throughout the summer, actually trying to recruit athletes. So you go and do 30-meter sprint and do some different physical tests, and then we bring you up to Lake Placid and you actually try to push a sled and we see how you fare. So we are always looking for talent, and bobsled and skeleton tend to be more of the accessible sports. Skiing, from what I've learned, is crazy expensive in the US, and that's still a
Yeah.
problem that we'll have to figure out, because comparatively, like you go to some of the hills in Europe and different places, and it's a lot more affordable. Actually, I think there's an article came out that it's actually cheaper to like fly to a mountain in Europe and buy lift passes than actually go to one of the ski mountains in Vale, which is insane. Like it should not be that kind of discrepancy, but you know, like I said, there's a lot of work still yet to be done in winter sport to make it more accessible.
No, I agree with that. And, going back to your representation conversation, like seeing you reach this level, and then obviously like athletes like Alicia Liu, like in ice skating, being an Asian American, the daughter of dad who had IVF, used a surrogate to grow his family. I mean, again, all these unique stories is why I love the Olympics, because obviously people are succeeding, but behind the person winning is a story of what they had to get to, what they had to go through to get there. And I love when you shared your story, hearing like you talked about representation, seeing like an all Asian podium in like various winter sports. Like I'm like, as an Indian American woman, we don't see a lot of ourselves in Olympic sport, right? And I'm like, we can do it. Like we can do it. We just have to train and we can find what is our what we're passionate about. So I love when we can get that representation. You're doing that so beautifully. So I know you and your husband have been traveling a lot lately, your entire family. You've been on the go, bouncing from hotels to flights. And honestly, shout out to Delta. This is not a sponsored thing, but for taking care of our queen here. Like you always post like, thanks Delta. And I'm like, thank you for getting her safely to where we need her to be. And so, your children are growing up watching their mom train, compete, travel, be a role model. like to myself, to so many people out there. And so beyond your family, you've also become this role model to so many children who are watching your journey. And again, so many women who are watching your journey. So when your kids look back at your career one day, what do you hope they take from watching your journey, or children in general would take away from your story?
The biggest thing, as I wanted to show with my story in particular, is because it's not been all sunshine and roses. Like, it has been a story of me falling down and getting back up and continuing to fight. And that's just what I wanted to show my kids. I wanted to show them more important than winning was that you can continue to fight through obstacles. And there's going to be
Mhm.
so many obstacles in their path that I'm not ever going to understand because I'm a hearing person, and I don't have Down syndrome. So I'm never going to understand some of the challenges they're going to encounter, but I just wanted them to see their mom fight for something, and because they're going to have to fight. And that's the thing, is like, all kids, regardless of where you come from, or disabled or not disabled, like, there's going to be obstacles that you're going to have to face. There's going to be things you have to fight through. And I just want to encourage people to go there and fight for their dreams and fight for what they want to do with their lives, and fight for their accomplishments.
Mm. And, many people are probably have asked you, are there more Olympics in your future? And although I would love to know that, more importantly, I want to know what is bringing you joy right now and what are you most excited to do?
Um, it's funny. I am really, really excited to do a school drop off. Like, I was supposed to register the kids and get all the paperwork figured out while I was at the games. We got super behind, and now I finally caught up, and now it's spring break. But I'm really excited to go back to do normal things with them, like getting them into school and them starting to figure out what their passions look like and what their lives look like and things like that, and them having friends. Like, we are
Yeah.
fortunate now, there's a couple of women on the bobsled team that travel with their kids, so they were able to have a little bit of friends and stuff like that. But I'm really excited for them to, like, start developing their own paths and to see what it looks like. I think this week we might go try some t-ball, see what that's like, and try some different things. So I'm really excited for, like, this next part of my life to, like, focus on the motherhood side of things and focus on the parenting. And it's something that I haven't been able to do. And it's something, like, sometimes it could be mundane and sometimes it could be pretty difficult hustling kids around. But when you don't get to do it for so long, when you're so focused on this one goal, winning a gold medal, like, it's those little things that make a world of difference. It's those little things that are bringing me joy.
I love the way you added that. And that goes back to what you had said that motherhood had taught you about perspective, right? Like when you're on, when you're racing, like you just put back into perspective, like what is it all for? And then now you're going back to that amazing role that you carry and the different identities that make you Elana. And I think that's so awesome. And, the last question is I do speaking events. And when I do speaking events, I love them. Like they're fun for me. But then I get this huge dopamine crash from all the excitement. Have you had a dopamine crash yet? Or are you still good?
I have not had it yet, but I know it's
Yeah,
coming.
you
It
know what I'm talking about,
comes
right?
after
Like,
every games. Yes.
okay,
Yep.
yes. Where you're like, you gotta know it's coming. So how do you prepare for that? Because sometimes it can lead to like a little bit of like a kind of depressive state where you're like, oh shoot, what now? Like, do you know it's coming? How do you psychologically prepare that? Okay, this is okay. This is normal.
I think it's just that. It's reminding yourself that
Yeah.
that's definitely coming. And especially after all the Olympics, it's like, fortunately now we're at a point in time where it's like early in my Olympics where athletes weren't talking about mental health and they weren't discussing these things, and now it's pretty open. Like, a lot of athletes are posting about it, what the
Yes.
post Olympic blues look like and those types of things, and so that helps tremendously. And so fortunately I've already got, like, my sports psych and a lot of different mental health professionals lined up because I know it's going to come. It's just a matter of when, and we're already talking through what that looks like planning wise and things like that. It's funny, a lot of times during the Olympics or whatever, they'll tell you to actually plan something for afterwards, plan
Yeah.
something that you have to look forward to, because, you don't want to just go from this high of highs into absolutely doing nothing. So fortunately with the kids, like, I've got stuff to do regardless. So there's a little bit of
Yeah.
that. Like, I'm going to stay busy regardless, but also, like, I've already got the mental health professionals in place to make sure that when the blues do eventually hit, like when that dopamine crash comes, that I'm ready, and they're on speed dial, that I'm ready to reach out to them.
Do you understand why you're such like why I wanted you on my show so bad. Not only do you promote mental health, you are an Olympian, the most decorated Black Olympian. You're a mother of children with disabilities. You are an amazing 41, perimenopausal, like maybe like me, like everything about you. It just exudes joy and exudes gratitude. And I really want to thank you for that. I want everyone who's listening to know that she's an Olympian. She's so busy. I've been like hounding her on my email, but she herself has also been like reaching out and updating me on her schedule. And listen, I'm a crier. Like it's very meaningful to me. Like I have this show that inspires a lot of moms and a lot of women, and we're just trying to raise amazing children. And we all have different stories. And you coming on my show just has meant the world to me today. So thank you for taking this time being the passenger of a car while you're driving. I so appreciate you. I just want to thank you for all you've done to inspire the world without even sometimes realizing you're doing it. Like just by talking, you are changing the world for so many people. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And same to you. Like your podcast is amazing. And thank you for sharing my story, but all the stories you share. Like it really is making a difference in the world. So I appreciate it.
Enjoy, prepare for that post dopamine crash. I know our kids will keep us busy with all that dopamine, but I love that you brought that up. And have a wonderful day. Thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the show. What really stayed with me after this conversation is how humble she is. Here is someone who is an Olympic champion, a history-making athlete, and truly a powerhouse in so many different ways. Yet she shows up with so much kindness and generosity with her time and her story. I told her in the conversation, but I am just so grateful that I had the privilege of sitting with her, even virtually, for half an hour. One thing she said that really stuck with me was how being an athlete taught her about letting go of control as a mother, and how motherhood taught her perspective as an athlete. I love that reflection because it reminds us that the roles we hold in life shape each other in ways that we often do not expect. So if you love this conversation as much as I loved recording it, make sure you download the episode, subscribe wherever you access podcasts, and share this on social media. Tag Pete's Doc Talk, tag the Pete's Doc Talk podcast so I can see what resonated with you. And remember to also tag Elana Meyers Taylor so she knows that we're listening. I cannot wait to see what you think. Thank you so much for being here, for growing with us, and for learning through the amazing experiences of amazing humans on the show.